is suggested that basically the power to be divided among the major 3 sectarian groups, with the rest of the 18, because Lebanon is made out of 18 sectarian groups. 3 are the largest: Maronite, Catholic Maronites, Muslim Shia, and Muslim Sunni. Power to be divided among them in particular, with proportional power shared among the other.
But this was envisaged as something transitory, that this is a transitional phase, we solve our problems, and then we arrive at a better formulation of how to rule ourselves. Wasn't it so?
Definitely, because Lebanon abides by its constitution, which was formulated under the French mandate and then was amended in different periods.
Yes.
The Lebanese constitution is a secular document, does not refer whatsoever to power sharing among sectarian groups. So if we wanted to say this is our constitution, meaning this is our pact, or this is our national contract between the people and the way the government is to rule over them or to rule with them.
It mentions nothing of
it says
sectarian
nothing. Nature. Our sectarianism comes really, in terms of politics, it comes from the National Pact, which is a non-written pact. Okay, it's just an agreement, perhaps meant to be a transitional agreement, and some constitutionalists have said it was a government arrangement, just an arrangement to pass to a different stage whereby...
It's been 70 years now.
Now it's 70 years.
That's not temporary or provisional in this sense.
Right. And our experience with the first, and this is what my book in many ways talks about, I divide the post-independent period of consociationalism in Lebanon into 3 stages. I call it first the National Pact Republic, and then I call
الميثاق الوطني.
دولة الميثاق الوطني. Then I calls a Ta'if Republic, which also tried
That's the
to
third
change.
or the second?
It's a second.
Okay.
You know, our National Pact Republic, which started in 1943, which is meant to be a transitional
transitory phase,
led to several crises because
it collapsed. I think it collapsed in 1975.
75 led to a civil war before in 1958 during the Iraq or the Baghdad Pact, which led to a deep division among Lebanese between pro
the pact, Baghdad Pact,
pro-Baghdad Pact, anti-Baghdad Pact, with a big group of Lebanese associating themselves with Arab nationalism and Nasserism. Anyway, led to a crisis because, you know, there was a rise of Arab nationalism, socialism, secularism.
And then the Palestinian question becomes eminent. And,
in 1975 led to a crisis which ended in 1989 with the Ta'if agreement.
And in between you have the Israeli
redistributed power. So this is why it's a second republic.
It's also provisional, isn't it?
It's
meant to be transitory as well.
It meant the power sharing of sects. The Ta'if agreement first said, okay, the National Pact has a deep problem, and the problem is based on the Maronites and the power of the president being excessive,
which is not written,
and creating unbalanced situation. The presidential power was written,
exactly, but
being
it wasn't
Maronite wasn't written.
Yes.
So, but the Ta'if said, okay, we needed to redistribute power to make it evenly handed. We wanted, instead of having the parliament being mostly Christian, we want to make it evenly divided. Instead of giving the president so much power, we want to move some of that power and
distribute the power fairly.
Hands of the prime minister, that's Sunni, and the hand of the speaker, who is a Shia, the parliament speaker. So eventually, the Ta'if Republic changed the National Pact in terms of power distribution to even it out more between Muslim and Christian.
And you think this is, of course, throughout we've been bracketing or putting aside external interference. But I think that's
Right.
fine. You think that this is the second phase of our transition in terms of consociationalism?
And I call that Doha Accord as a
The
third republic.
That's interesting.
Because the
That's
Doha
very interesting.
redistributed-
2008.
2008.
Okay.
This is, you know, evidently
You think
neither the
it's
Christian.
such a relevant event that you can compare to Ta'if? for
Yes,
instance?
yes,
It
yes.
is.
But
we
the
did-
Christians
this
nor the
doesn't-
Shiites in Doha
Okay.
before the Doha were satisfied with the distribution and required and needed more.
But this didn't lead to
Redistribution.
a new state of affairs or a transition
It
that
did.
it did.
It did. First of all, the Doha created the following new conditions in the Lebanese consociational pact. First, it created what is so-called the third, within a council of ministers, it created what is so-called a third obstruction or third guarantee, meaning that 1/3 of the council of ministers must be guaranteed to the minority opposition within the parliament. This is new. This is a veto given for the minority, primarily meant to benefit the Shiites in Lebanon, who were afraid that the concentration of power in the hand of the prime minister, who is Sunni, will undermine their role in the country. So this is one. The second thing...
This cannot be overruled or is very difficult to overrule.
Look at now. I mean, we are not able to establish a government unless this is provided. Since 2008, the issue of a 1/3
exactly
guaranteed to the
in terms of cabinet seats.
And this is a condition for a new consociationalism.
What else? Very interesting, actually.
The second thing is that we redrafted electoral system and brought us back to the distribution of 1960.
But we can do this every day, and we seem to do it every time we have an election.
This is a new change of the rules of the game. Because
but we had several, like in every election, we were having a different electoral system.
No, the Ta'if Accord said we will abide by large electoral districts, not small ones.
But we didn't.
So this is the thing.
Did we do that?
So we're changing, when you change the electoral districts, okay, you're changing the entire power sharing distribution, because at one time a Christian candidate could have been elected by Muslim votes, and now when
nowadays
you go back, a Christian will be, by 1960, the Christian can only win seats by Christian votes. So this is a new redistribution of power, further deepening the sectarian separation instead of bringing the sects together. The third fact that the Doha Accord did is that it brought a president by consensus, not a president by election. And this is something new. Now, I mean,
I can argue, but I won't menace our viewers with Lebanese details.
Look,
but I can see the relevance of the discussion.
You first created the office of the president now, and this, just like the National Pact did. You know, sometimes you set up an agreement, you think it's a temporary, it will be changed the next day.
We have the urf,
but
or
then,
the tradition.
It becomes a tradition.
Which is very powerful.
Now, look at now, what is the argument? Who is going to be a president in Lebanon?
There should be consensus.
Should be consensus. You're not going to accept, no one can accept that a majority, a parliamentary majority, will vote for the president like Sulaiman Frangieh in 1972. No, that's not.
That's interesting. I regret that we have to stop at this moment where so many interesting questions are brought up, but I would like to thank you for your insights, and perhaps we meet in a new interview. Thanks again. I'm also thankful for you following us. We meet in a new episode of Beyond Politics. Thanks again.